Hey y'all, it's Morris from Texas Gone Photography. I'd like to begin with a warning. If you have a weak stomach, please stop watching right now. The following photos I shot in 1989 documenting a man living in South Texas who made his living, provided for his family, by hunting, butchering, and processing rattlesnakes. Before we continue, I want to make a few things very clear. Number one, everything depicted in these photographs was legal at the time. Now, I can't speak to current laws. Number two, these snakes were not killed for sport. Their lives were not taken in vain. Every part of their sacrifice was harvested. And finally, if this video offends you in any way, I apologize now and I ask you to quit watching it. In this photo, you can clearly see the right eye of the snake, two big white fangs, and a hole in the bottom of his mouth. Now that's called the glottis. This allows the snake to breathe as it swallows large prey whole and as the snake hisses when it's threatened. The snakes use a type of heat-seeking radar and have a strong sense of smell that they use to ambush any prey that may come by, such as rodents, amphibians, and birds. The venom is delivered by those fangs. Now, snakes normally don't feed on each other. However, they do have to eat every 2 weeks. Now, Mike hunted diamondback rattlers and was often called to South Texas ranches to clear the land due to the deadly danger these snakes pose to livestock, pets, and even people. These snakes can live up to 20 years, grow up to 7 feet long, and weigh up to 15 pounds. They are not aggressive, but they will strike without hesitation if they feel threatened or startled. The bite is deadly if not treated. They can be easily identified by this beautiful pattern created by the scales that run all the way down its back like diamonds. They also can easily be identified by the rattle on their tail. Now, the rattle doesn't necessarily tell you how old they are because the snakes shed their skin 3 or 4 times a year, and each time they put on a new rattle. However, they can get broken off or even eaten by insects. As you can see here, they naturally camouflage in their environment, which is another defense mechanism. Another telltale sign of a rattlesnake is the arrowhead shape of its head. Now, under those big eyes, that's where the venom is contained. Now, if you're ever out in the wild and you see a snake like this, or you hear a rattle, freeze and then slowly back away. Now, after Mike captures the snakes, he transports them home in his big truck using large wooden boxes with lots of tiny air holes. Now, none of these air holes are big enough for a fang to come out of. I got grazed by a copperhead fang one time, but that's a whole nother story. Now, back as far as the processing themselves, the first thing they do is cut the heads off. Now, Mike here is lining up the head, getting ready for the decapitation. And as you can see by his arms, it takes somebody mighty strong to do this, and somebody that has nerves of steel. Even after the snake being killed, the head remains extremely dangerous, and it can still kill you. The venom sacs are located just below the eyes and are carefully harvested for life-saving antivenom. Now, snakes' bodies are then placed in large tubs of water to drain all the blood out of them. So even with their heads gone, the snakes keep twitching around in that water. Now, I do have to tell you a little story on myself. So I'm up there taking real tight pictures of the heads being cut off, and pop! I feel something up against the back of my leg. It scared the living daylights out of me. I thought I had been bitten by a rattlesnake, and I screamed louder and jumped higher probably than I ever had my whole life. It almost gave me a heart attack, but everybody else just had a really good laugh. After the blood's all been drained out, the snake's belly is very carefully cut right down the middle. Now, the snake's skin is very, very valuable, so they don't want to damage it. Back in the day, it was real popular to have rattlesnake skin boots, even with a rattlesnake head on them, that were made down in Mexico. I never really wanted a pair myself. Next up, the snake is gutted, leaving only the skin and the meat. Then the skin is slowly and carefully pulled away from the meat. The skin is very delicate this time. It's been taken back to the table, thoroughly cleaned again, especially around the tail to get any meat out, because if any stays in there, it can ruin the tanning process. Then the snakes, still twitching, are hung up on this line to dry out. In the meantime, Mike is over checking on the actual skins to make sure they're all looking good, all in good shape. Then the meat is rolled back up and it is then bagged and weighed and frozen, being prepared to ship to Asia, where it is considered a delicacy by many cultures over there. Now, I do have one piece of advice for you if you ever think about going out and doing this yourself. Don't do it. It's crazy to think about doing this if you don't really know what you're doing. Finally, I want to say thank you for watching. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, Texas Gone Photography.